Palia just shared a look behind the scenes at some big new features currently in development for the game. Decorating improvements, story expansion, a trading system, a new adventure zone, and more. Let's go over all the latest reveals together. Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. I'm Sarah Sunstone, and today we have a brand new episode of Thinking Out Loud, the show where I explore a variety of interesting and exciting gaming topics and share my honest thoughts with you all. Today's hot topic is Palia's latest developer blog, which gives us a sneak peek at what the team has been busy working on. So without any further ado, let's get right into it. First up, the team shared that the new home tours feature has been a resounding success, with over 1 million tours taken within the first 24 hours of the feature's launch. I think this new addition was such a genius idea because we've seen it be very effective in building community and engagement with other players in other similar games. For example, Animal Crossing New Horizons added the dream addresses, so folks could visit each other's islands without, being able to damage anything or edit anything and just enjoy what others had created. It's also great that they're offering some rewards to encourage and incentivize people to both submit their plots and tour those of others. Overall, the team communicated that they really want to foster players' creative spirits, not just through the home tours feature, but also by making decorating, designing, and showcasing home plots as seamless and fun as possible. Specifically with regards to the home tours feature, the team shared that they're working on some sort of a featuring system for those home tours that will place your home plot front and center to help your friends and other players find your awesome designs. Now, there's been concerns about the decor limits that plots have, which restricts the amount of items that you can actually place on your plot. Right now, there is a limit of 3,000 items that you're able to place, and the team shared that they are working to raise this number of overall decor limits. However, they communicated that there are some pretty tough engineering challenges related to performance and stability, so it's something they still need more time to work on, taking into consideration bandwidth and optimization for gameplay. They want to provide players with more creative freedom. At the same time, they don't want to take away from the performance of the game, especially for players who maybe aren't as interested in design. They don't want other areas of the game to suffer, so it's all about that balance, and it's great to know that they are working on that. They're working on a solution for that so that we can all have more decor on our plots. They're just not quite ready yet to implement those changes. The changes that they will, however, be implementing are exciting and are coming soon. So first of all, there will be a new optimization system for certain types of decor, like the building blocks, meaning there will no longer be an individual building block limit. Instead, the building blocks are inclusive of the overall 3,000 item limit. So previously, the building blocks had their own limit that you could cap at, but now it's just going to be part of that 3,000 items. The flower limit will also be increased from 500 to 1,000, so you can have double the amount of flowers on your plot, which I think is very necessary because with new buildings like the conservatory or even the courtyard, which very much incentivize players to decorate using flowers, the ability to place flowers inside as well as outside, these are all things that very much ask for higher limits for florals. The final upcoming change that they've shared is that decor limits will be visible in placement mode, and also from the housing menu, so you can actually keep track of how close to the limit you are. Next, the team also shared the name of the next update, which is patch 0.183, called Sunrise Soiree. This is when those home plot changes are planned to come into effect, along with the much requested quality of life feature that will allow you to search for specific items in your workbench and storage, which I'm so relieved to hear. You have no idea how long I've spent cumulatively just scrolling through my storage and the crafting bench to try and find the item I'm looking for. So having a search feature is going to be time-saving, game-changing, and so welcome, at least in my opinion. A fun new feature also shipping with this update is something called potato pods. These are in-game plushies, and apparently there's an entire line of these collectibles. And the team shared that we'll actually have the opportunity to get a random potato pod periodically, adding an element of surprise to your collection. I wonder if this will be dropped at a random chance when harvesting potato crops, and if so, will this ultimately expand to other types of crops as well? What do you think? Excitingly, the team shared that there is a trading system in the works. It is planned for a future update sometime after the next patch. While they didn't share much about this, it's great to know that it's being worked on. I feel that this is something that is severely lacking in the game. I have so many items that I'd love to share with others. There's so many mechanics in the game that lead you to collecting duplicates of items that you have. For example, the makeshift series. I can't tell you how many duplicates of certain makeshift items I have, while I'm still missing so many that I know others have dupes of. It would be so nice to be able to trade those items to help each other complete collections. And while I also would love to be able to just have a gifting system where you can gift each other in-game items without expecting anything in return, I understand that they do have to consider the balance of the in-game economy and make sure that everything is more or less fair. Everyone feels that they have equally earned their rewards. So I do understand why it would be a trading system and not a gifting system, and it will be interesting to see what the restrictions are with this system, what can and cannot be traded, what the requirements are for the trade. Do they have to be of equal value? Do they have to be from the same set, same quality? It'll just be interesting to see what the restrictions are, or at least the starting point from which they're going to introduce the trading system map. Essentially, we're just gonna have to wait and see. I think having a trading system at all is just really exciting, and the team did say that we should stay tuned for more details, so I hope this means they're going to share more about this, hopefully soon. Next, the team addressed feedback from players who have voiced that they would like to see more masculine presenting outfits, which I personally completely agree with. I've heard this feedback plenty. Also, just objectively, there are definitely far more feminine options for outfits by quite a bit. The team shared some concept art for the Wild Howl outfit, and I'm sure many people will love this one. However, I also hope that this is just the first of many, because specifically from the feedback that I've seen and received, there are a lot of players who really just want some more basic, simple, casual male options, as well as some more extravagant, but not necessarily themed towards a certain creature or concept. I'm sure there's definitely the demand for both more extravagant and more simple masculine outfits, so I hope that is on the horizon as well. But regardless, it's nice that we now know that the team has heard this feedback and is actively working on improving this realm of their premium offerings, which, if you're newer to Palia, this is the one realm of the game that is monetized, whereas the rest is all free to play. Now, last but nowhere near least, the team has finally spoken on the next adventure zone planned for the game. If you've joined Palia at any point since its initial launch, let me just briefly give you some background on these adventure zones. So initially, ahead of the game's big launch into beta, there was an official first look at gameplay. Now, this presentation was when the team first revealed Bahari Bay as the game's first adventure zone. So in case you didn't know, Bahari Bay is an adventure zone. Further, it was explained that these areas are being designed to capture a sense of adventure on a greater scale and aim to be an area that you would visit to do lots of gathering, looting, and exploring. They shared that they would come out with new adventure zones, but would also revisit existing ones over time so players could discover new secrets. So that brings us to the upcoming Elderwood Zone, which is described as an expansive, gorgeous, and potentially somewhat devious new zone set in the world of Palia that will challenge players' conceptions of flow, the Majiri, and the role that humans play in the whimsical world of Palia. So it sounds like we're gonna get a ton of new lore emerging from our exploration in this zone. I am so curious about this and so excited to discover all of the secrets of the Palian world, as well as this zone in particular. Now, in terms of actual gameplay, the Elderwood Zone will introduce new mainline quests gameplay elements, and many hours of adventure for you and your friends to enjoy. Just in case I haven't been clear enough yet, this won't be an instanced area like the temples, for example. This will literally be another Bahari Bay, so it'll be another area that you can visit with your friends. There will likely be new creatures, new resources to collect. Perhaps that could include resources we're already familiar with in different variations, like new crystals, new forageables, new types of wood, but it could also include things that are not yet in the game. We can also speculate that there will be new crafting recipes that will be associated with these resources, maybe some new recipes to cook with the ingredients we can find in this zone. There will definitely be those new mainline quests. There could also be a ton of other discovery quests and found item quests in this area. There could be character and relationship quests that lead you to the Elderwood as well. This is all just my own speculation. Now, the team doesn't want to give away too much right now, which I'm completely on board with, and I can't wait to actually get in there and explore everything. I want so much of it to be a surprise for us because I think surprises are so fun, and it just really allows you to experience and explore the game with such a sense of discovery and awe, really. Of course, I would also love to have a few more teasers, leading up to the launch of this adventure zone, but when all is said and done, I'm hoping for most of it, if not like almost all of it, to just stay as a surprise. Now, the only catch here is that the team is projecting an early 2025 timeline for the launch of the zone. I think this is honestly only good news. As much as it's going to be kind of tough for us to wait, especially if we're all really excited, I think the timeline indicates just how expansive this zone is going to be. Now, I could be wrong, but I think if we're looking at early 2025, and who knows how long they've already been working on it, I think it's really going to be a huge moment for the game, and I'm more than happy to wait. Now, looking ahead, the team did want to share a bit of information about what we can look forward to between now and the launch of the Elderwood Adventure Zone. So aside from the next Sunrise Soiree update, we can also expect other new gameplay features along with in-game events. They mentioned the Magi Market, so it sounds like we're going to have the return of that market. It'll probably have some similarities to the other Magi Markets we've experienced, but I'm guessing they'll also change up some other things. The Magi Market has such a lovely vibe to it, and I'm very much excited for it to return. It already kind of has that sense of nostalgia for me and that sense of comfort, so I'm very much excited for that. They're also talking about having some experimental content that they'll be launching, as well as quality of life improvements and new quests. So speaking on quests, they share that they have a priority to deliver as many new quests as they can that will appeal to both new players and seasoned Palians. So this could be maybe some new friendship quests. We've seen them expand some of the characters from level 4, which was the previous max, to level 5, and I wouldn't be surprised if they launched more level 5 friendship quests. There could also easily be some of those found item quests where, there's random items hidden around the world. If you find it, you activate a quest line that could range from, receiving some golds and renown or some simple items in return, but learning a lot about some sort of story, to, some pretty epic items, honestly, that you can get from some of those quests. They also shared that they're planning on building towards larger beats, like the introduction of the Elderwood. So it's not just going to be Elderwood dropped out of the blue. They're actually going to have some in-game lead up to it, which makes sense. I think it would be great to sort of little by little introduce us to the zone. Specifically, they shared that there's going to be a series of areas planned for the rollout and more. So maybe these could encompass some instanced areas similar to the temples or the vault, maybe a little cave to explore with some little secrets and clues that might lead us to the Elderwood ultimately. I'm not sure, but I think it's fun that they're planning ahead and there's going to be that lead up to it. It's not just going to be like, okay, here's a zone, go explore it. No, there's going to be, little bits and pieces ahead of time that will hype it up and help connect the dots for us between where we are now and where we'll land up in the Elderwood. Overall, the team shared that we should expect to see a mix of content updates, both large and small, including the highly anticipated conclusion to Palia's prologue quest, which is excellent news. Of course, they're also prioritizing bug fixes, feature improvements, and the overall questline player experience. So all in all, I feel that this update from the team was phenomenal. It addressed so many hot topics that have been highly requested, highly vocalized. It really shows that they hear us. I know I've said it before that they do hear feedback, but I think this really affirms that. It's also really exciting to look ahead to that adventure zone and know that it is on the horizon. It is coming soon. It's not too soon, but it's also not too far away. And up until now, it's very much just been speculation on these adventure zones and wondering, did they forget about them? I mean, of course they didn't, but wondering like what's going on with these adventure zones. And now they're finally saying, yes, there is going to be another adventure zone. This is what it's called. Here's a tease, and here's kind of the general timeline of when you're going to see it. So that was all the latest news from the team at Singularity 6, the developers behind Palia, along with my thoughts on many of the topics. But what do you think? In a recent poll, I asked you which upcoming feature for Palia are you most looking forward to? And it was a very close, almost tie between new quests and story with 37% of the vote and the Elderwood Zone with 35% of the vote. I can totally see the toss-up between these two new upcoming big features, and I think I would tend towards the new quests and story for right now because we're gonna get it ahead of the Elderwood launch. I also feel like having story and quest to follow is something that has been somewhat lacking in more recent weeks and months, and so to have some of that infused back into the game would be really nice. I remember when we first had Subira arrive, that sort of injected a bunch of life and story into the game. It was so nice to have some cutscenes and some more lore and more development. It felt like we were following a trail of something, and learning more about the world. And while there is lots you can learn about the world just by exploring and interacting with, little details and reading books and all that, it's really nice to be swept into these stories and feel like you're going somewhere with your gameplay instead of just feeling like you're in this loop of leveling up your skills, collecting things, decorating, and repeat. I think I made it pretty clear how excited I am for the Elderwood Adventure Zone. It's definitely a huge new aspect of the game to look forward to. I think I will be getting more excited about it as we approach early 2025. I really like to appreciate what's in front of me as much as I can, so I'm really going to focus on all those little improvements and updates and features that get added between now and then. And then of course when the Elderwood Zone launches, it's going to be amazing. Next, coming in at 18% were the design and building features. In some ways, I'm kind of surprised this wasn't a little bit higher because I do feel like there's a huge design community around Palia. At the same time, I do feel like designing and building have already received like a lot of attention from the team, which, rightfully so, because at this point, when there aren't a ton of big story quests and such, the design is always what keeps games like this lively, in my opinion. That goes for any game in the cozier simulation genre. It always comes down to design, it seems. Again, I always reference Animal Crossing New Horizons, but that game was kept alive for far longer than it would have been without the design community. So I really do think having a focus on design is very smart on the part of the team, but I do think other areas of the game do also need a lot of TLC as well. So it's nice to see them really trying to balance everything out and doing their best to cater to all sorts of players with all sorts of interests. And only 10% of you are most excited for the trading system, which is fair because, first of all, maybe not everyone even plays with others. Palia, while it is an MMO, is totally playable by yourself. You really do not have to ever interact with anyone if you don't want to enjoy the bulk of the content. There are a few exceptions of things that, you need to party up with others to receive certain cosmetic rewards, but none of them are game-changing or, groundbreaking by any means, so you can really just play the whole game all to yourself if you'd like to. And so for those players, I'm sure trading system wouldn't be like all too exciting or appealing because you're probably focused on just trying to get all the rewards yourself. And even for those of you who are very much excited to trade, we still don't know the restrictions and limitations on the system, so it's kind of hard to get really excited for a trading system until we know more. So it makes sense that this one comes in, last on the list in terms of excitement level. However, I do think that this feature will very much foster the sense of community and uplift that and support that, which for a game designed around community, and again, it being an MMO, I do think that is important. So I think this will be a pretty big deal, but again, it'll be interesting to see how it all actually comes to be. Well, there you have it, friends. I hope you enjoyed exploring all of the exciting features that we have to look forward to between now and and the launch of a new adventure zone. In my opinion, this game just keeps on getting better and better. Let me know down in the comments which of the new features you're most excited for, whether or not you voted on the poll. Also, feel free to let me know what you'd love to see included in the game that you haven't seen yet. Anything and everything. You know I always love hearing from you. Please go ahead and shine the lovely like button if you enjoyed today's video. And with all that being said, thank you so much for watching. I love you all, and until next time, take care.